Hello and welcome everyone to Chirping Zebras episode 45, the Pedro Martinez episode. And I'm Mark Riley alongside Gino Binder Jr. as always. And Happy New Year. This is very exciting to be into 2025.
Yes.
And 2024, as if you watch the year in reviews, part 1 and 2, we had quite the 2024.
Some good stuff in there. Go back and watch those.
100%.
And you don't have to go watch all of them.
And you're wearing a new hat that buddy Chris McMullen from Cyrus 11 in Marshfield, our merch guy, he made us some hats for Christmas.
Backwards or front?
I think front. Yeah, backwards at your
look
age.
like an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't look good. But but yeah, you went to Disney.
I did, yes.
And how was that?
That was awesome.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. The kids had a great time. My daughter has special needs, so we got the DAS pass. So, it's basically waiting in line, but not waiting in line.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that was pretty cool once you figured that part out. But like the first day, we absolutely crushed it. Kids loved it, and you hear all those horror stories about Disney, like it wasn't none of that. It was like the last day was packed because it was the day before Christmas Eve, but that's understandable.
Right.
You got to expect that. If you go down there thinking you're not going to expect that, you're a moron.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolute
No.
moron.
Still.
But it was an incredible trip. It was a, memorable trip to say the least. And you know what? We'll probably go back.
You went on the animal thing.
Yes.
Saw all the animals?
Saw all the zebras. We got some good footage from that. We got we'll show them. We'll blast those out and some
zebras.
reels. Yeah, the zebras. It was awesome. We rocked the sweatshirts and
Did you get close enough to do what I want to do to a moose?
There was I didn't see a moose and I didn't sack tap no moose. But I tried to sack tap a zebra, but on the safari ride. But
all right.
Well, I got yelled at for sticking my hand out of the.
Well, when we go to Alaska this summer, because we're going to Alaska,
yeah, we'll find one,
and we're gonna make that happen.
Yeah.
Our buddy Travis Jackson will make that happen.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, let's get right into it. I'm so excited for today's show.
Yes.
I mean, Pedro Martinez, number 45, a legend, right,
yes.
in Boston. I mean, just remarkable things he accomplished. Our guest on that level,
yes.
I would say. She has, get this, run 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 different continents. I mean, come on.
No, I thought I'd travel the country on someone else's dime, but going to 7 different continents, I can barely speak, but
unbelievable,
incredible, right?
Unbelievable. I've only been to 2. This one, and I went to Europe. Yeah. I got the Stonehenge. It's my favorite thing. Established 3000 BC.
Yeah, pretty cool.
But want to welcome our guest, Becca Pizzi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Chirping Zebras. Now, we met at the alumni event.
The one I missed, yeah.
Yep, the one you missed with the 2011 team when I got shot by the Navy SEAL and busted the tibia or whatever I busted. And I was blown away because, when I met you, were like, oh, I'm a marathoner, I'm a runner, and I was like, oh, and then you tell me your story. First of all, how did you get into running?
My dad was a runner, and we're 6 generations of Pizzis growing up in Belmont, Massachusetts. And he took me to my first race when I was 6 years old, and I loved it. I couldn't wait to go to the next one, and I've competed in middle school, high school, and college, and it's taken me all around the world.
That's awesome. Good for you.
That's amazing. Where did you run in college?
I ran at Mars Hill University in North Carolina.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was going to say, you got to go someplace warm, I would think, right?
Yeah, it definitely helps with training.
Yeah, running in the cold is not fun.
No.
Now, so what was the longest distance you did at the youngest age?
I ran a marathon in high school, and my high school coach just said, just do it. If you really feel like you need to do it, just do it and be careful and don't hurt anything. So it was awesome. I raced my science teacher at the high school. I beat him. And the whole school was like placing bets on who's going to win, me or my science teacher. And so there was a little bit of pressure, and I'm really, really, really competitive. So I beat him, and we still talk about it to this day.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome. And how old were you when you did that?
17.
17. Wow. I couldn't even run to my car at 17.
No, I hated doing like the mile run before, like when you get to high school, you got to do the mile run. Like, no thanks.
That was something that we had to do in refereeing with the camps. We had to do a timed mile.
Yeah. So growing
my
up, you know,
strong
I
suit.
used to like we used to run the mile in middle school and high school, and they would tell me the girls' time. I'm like, all right, what's the boys' time? Because I wanted to go after that.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was really fun because all the friends were cheering me on, and that was really fun.
That's awesome. Now, the 7-continent thing. I just now. How many times have you done that?
I've done it twice.
Done it twice.
Yeah.
You're kidding me. Twice.
I'll tell you. So my friends are runners, and they kept sending me this article off ESPN, you know, and these people have done this race. And at the time, I had run 45 marathons. And I thought, I have a shot at making history. My daughter's 8 years old. Let me see what she thinks about it. And she's like, yeah, Mom, how many continents are there? I'm like, I don't even know. So we looked it up. We're like, all right, 7, that's manageable. That's doable. You know, I can do that. And so for 1 year, I worked really, really hard on everything I could do. I was doing like running 100 miles per week, and I was doing CrossFit and yoga for runners. I was doing everything because I did not want to finish, you know. And
Right.
there were 2 American females that had attempted it but weren't able to complete it. So I felt like if I can get into the Guinness Book of World Records, and then that would be really cool, you know, doing what I love to do. So I didn't tell my parents for the first 3 months because they're all, every time I tell them, they're like, oh my God, here we go with this girl. Like when is it enough? And you know, it's like, and so I said, I never loved your ideas growing up as a high schooler. So now it's my turn, and you're going to like this idea. And they said, we don't think it's safe because like there were decapitations happening, and they're like, this is where humans are being decapitated, and this. And my mom's like, you're going to get killed by penguins in Antarctica. I'm like, I think I can outrun a penguin, Mom. So, but they
was worried about the
they were
penguins.
just stressed out. My dad's a Marine. He's like, it's dangerous world out there. You got to be very careful. You're a female. And there were parts of the races where we had to take off our American flag and stuff, and
I bet.
just kind of go, you know, with armored cars. And that was different for me running in Boston, and so a little bit scary. But I promised them, I said, just watch over my daughter. I'm going to be okay. I have to go after this. I have to do it. And they became on board. And you know, I crossed the finish line in Miami, and after causing my parents so much stress, they were like crying, and they were like, we did it. And I was like, Were we
Where
now?
was the support?
Yeah, because they really weren't happy about it. But I'm so grateful for them, you know, and it was an incredible journey. And, you know, you're in Antarctica, and you're so scared because you're running on a glacier, and you can hear the ice ripping open, like, ding, but it's fine. You're fine.
Right.
But it's scary, you know, but you're looking around, you're like, I'm in Antarctica, this is awesome. And the locations that were chosen were incredible. I went Antarctica, Chile, Miami, Madrid, Morocco, Dubai, and it ended in Australia. So
That's incredible.
that was, and when the gun goes off, you have 168 hours to finish. So at all times, it's run, eat, sleep, fly, repeat. And it's just about keeping your guard up. You know, because you cross the finish line, you're like, oh, I want pizza, I want a beer, I want all.
Right.
No, there's none of that. You're like, how can I focus on the next race? And so the seats laid flat down into beds. So, you know, you'd sleep a little bit, and then you'd get up and you would just walk the aisles and stretch. And with a world record on the line, I was like, I'm going to finish no matter what. And I got to Dubai, and I'm like, everyth's okay. I'm going to finish. And I suffered this like groin tear. All of a sudden, it was like a stabbing pain, and it hurt so much. And so I got this email from a doctor that coaches Harvard, and he said, I got your email. I've been following your journey. If you run with your toes facing in, you'll take the pressure off your groin, and it will help you. So I said, I got your email. I had like 1,200 emails from people trying to help, and so I crossed the finish line, and it was pretty incredible. You know, I got to throw out the first pitch at Fenway Park, and I got proposed to on the mound.
Oh, that's
So
incredible.
my husband has balls to do that. I was like,
Yep.
what if I said no? You know, and it was awesome. And I got to meet David Ortiz, who was so fun. You know, he was like,
Big Poppy.
I told him, I said, he was like bowing down to me. We won these like SB awards, and I said, you should do the marathon, you'll raise millions of dollars. And he was hysterically laughing. He's like, have you ever seen me run to first base? So he was very fun. And he's like, but man, you're so badass. And to hear him say that, like the second time that I actually ran the 777, Tom Brady's company, Alex Guerra, reached out to me, and they said, we'll pay your tuition, we'll pay for you to run this race if we can train you and work with you. And I said, well, what do you know about running? And they said, nothing, but we know everything about the human body. So I said, okay, if it works for Tom Brady, it definitely is going to work for me.
Right.
And we did pliability in Foxborough 3 days a week. And Alex, I worked directly under his wing, and I ran the race faster and stronger and did not get injured the second time. So I crossed the finish line. I'm like, I can run tomorrow. I'm not even hurt. Like, this is great.
It's almost like the gum.
Yeah, pliability. It's like, it's just, they just said you can't go to a gym. I said, okay, I'll try it. And so it's all resistant band stuff. So you can only lift what you can, you're not overlifting because you can't.
Right.
And I think that's what happened. I overexerted in the first 777 and I got injured. This time it was resistant bands, and wow, it made me a stronger, faster.
Now, were you lifting heavy weights or
I was.
Yeah,
I was so stressed out about feeling fatigued that I kind of overdid it a little bit
that makes
in
sense.
the gym. I was living in the gym, and I think it's more now. I will only do resistant band work.
Like I did that in my career a couple times. Like I overtrained, and then like in the season, like I'm like working just as hard as I did in the off season, and I was like, you can't do that because like you got to rest your body and you got to do all the training beforehand.
Yeah, and there's that fine line.
Maintain
when fatigue sets in, and you got to be really careful not to get injured. So.
Right. Very good.
I definitely overlifted, as we all know.
Oh yeah,
Especially when I was skating. I was a weight room rat.
Yep. Like when you put a T-shirt on, if you burped, you would have split it.
I may or may not have been
love
doing more than just eating chicken and rice. I admit it. It's okay.
That works for you.
Yeah.
That works for you.
It worked for me back then.
Now, can we get back to decapitations?
Yeah,
I know you threw
You
that.
just got to throw that in there.
Out there like nothing.
Whenever I travel,
Where was that?
I travel to when I in my life, like I said to my husband, don't tell my parents we're going to Egypt. Let's just tell them we're going to Greece. So my mom walks in and she's like, oh, there's this wedding. Are you going to your cousin Anthony's wedding? And my husband says, no, we'll be in Egypt. I'm like, what? She's like, what? So she sends me like the Boston Globe, how Egypt, like there's decapitations happening. And I'm like, don't tell them. What we say, we are going to Greece. And then we're extending our trip on to Egypt. Yeah. And we're going to go swim in the Nile. And we're gonna, but you don't tell them because they really stress out. But during the decapitations of like Morocco and do you remember that? That was when the UN, and we were within 4 miles of that. So the race director said, I'm going to get armored cars but I was running the race with 2 active military Marines. So my dad is a Marine, and he said to them, he messaged them, and can you just keep an eye on my daughter? And they're like, we got her. I'm like, so when I was running the race and they're standing there, I'm like, no, go to the hotel. I'll be fine. And they're like, no, we promised Marine to Marine. No way. We promised your dad. We're not leaving. But hurry. So I was like, okay, all right, I'm hurrying. I'm trying. But
was that your fastest marathon?
Yeah, that was my fastest marathon. And like, it was just, I said, I really felt like if anything, God forbid, ever happened, it's a dangerous world out there.
Oh yeah, it is.
And so we don't really talk about that part of it, but that was there, and that was a very serious.
It's real life stuff.
Yeah, to have to take off all my American flag stuff was very different for me. Not wear my American flag hat, and then even in Dubai having to wear a T-shirt instead of the tank top. It was 91 degrees out, but that's what you respect the culture and you respect there. So. But that's how the 7-7. I really didn't realize. I was a little naive, not really realizing.
I didn't until you said that. I was the same way. I didn't think about that either.
No. Yeah. Now I should have notes because there's so many things I want to ask about the 7, 7, and 7.
Yep.
Yeah. So first off, how did you train for the jet lag? Because I can't even imagine flying that many times, that many days in a row, and just even laying by a pool.
Right.
Yes.
That'd be a struggle for me.
We crossed 16 time zones. So I specifically remember marathon for the airline stewardess. I woke up and I said, what time is it? And she said 11:02. And I said, AM or PM? And she was like,
yeah, right.
AM? How do you not know that? But you don't know.
No, I couldn't see that.
It just gets away from you. So one thing I did is I went and I would do a couple marathons. And in my 50 states, I was doing a 50 states marathon journey. So I would go to a certain state, run the marathon, and catch the very first flight home. And fly home like in my gear, not even showered. Just to know what that would feel like. But I kept it quiet. I'm like, people are going to think that's so disgusting. You just ran them. I wouldn't. Like,
but you got to train.
Yeah,
you got to experience that because if you don't,
it's just so different. And then So then I would touch down at Logan, and then I would get back to my house, and I would go running.
Yeah.
And it would be 9 or 10 p.m., and I would just go out for like a 15-mile run because that's what it would be like. And then oftentimes in the training 100-mile weeks, I would run at 8 p.m., and then I'd get up at 4 in the morning and run at 4 in the morning because all of these races were run at whatever time we landed.
Right.
3 a.m., 4 a.m., so that's what it was like, but it was exhausting.
My mind is just blown because I can't even imagine
The discipline and
So-
the whole.
So now, and you just mentioned you ran a marathon in all 50 states, which I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to visit all 50. I got 45.
Nice.
I got 45.
I'm up there. Yeah. I don't know my number, but I'm pretty
Yeah,
close.
and I just want to get there and like.
You ran 'em.
So how you determine whether or not you actually visited a state? This was my rule. You had to be there for a certain number of hours. You had to have a meal or take a dump. That was my rules.
Right. Yeah.
Right? But I digress. All right. So the jet lag thing, okay. Now, what was the order of the continents?
Antarctica was first because the wind is so fierce that you cannot start the race until there's so many hiccups that may happen. So you have to just make sure that you can get going once because there's a small window of time of where you can start.
You want a
so
tailwind.
Yeah. So and we have to be able to fly out.
Right.
So we have to be sure that
good.
it's because it's so windy that if you look at the flags on any of my Instagram stories, you can see that the flags are just blowing. And
Right.
So once you run Antarctica and get that over with, so that Antarctica and then Chile was really windy too. That was like I almost wore my Antarctica gear because it was so windy, and then Miami. And then Madrid and Morocco, those were the ones that was most stressed out about it because we finished Madrid marathon at 11 a.m. and we were towing the line at 11 p.m. of Morocco because it was only a 1.5 hour flight. So I was stalling. I was like, oh, I need to use the bathroom again, or I need to, because I was just trying to open up the gap of that time. So once I figured I could get through those two, I would just have Dubai and Australia left. We have a 13-hour flight to Dubai from Morocco. And that's when I think I got myself into trouble with resting too much and not getting up and stretching because I was like, oh, I only have 2 more, no problem. But that became a major. When I was at marathon mile 2 in Dubai, that's when I felt the rip in my groin. And it was like, oh my God, it's happening. So when I got home, I said to my doctor, what happened? And she's like, 7 marathons on 7 continents. I was like, what do you mean what happened? Why does that not sound normal to you? Like you just your body gave out on you. But I was thinking like Tom Brady had that refrain, we didn't come this far to just come this far. And I read that right in the Boston Marathon Globe right before I left. And I said, I did not give up leaving my daughter for 2 weeks and training for 1 whole year to not finish. There's no way. So, but it was incredible, and it was like finishing in Australia was awesome. Everybody came out and not even, you think they would cheer for their own people, but they had my back. It was pretty awesome.
Now, so Dubai, you said was 91 degrees. Mm-hmm. So obviously Antarctica had to be the coldest.
Negative 20.
I'm an idiot if I
yeah,
think.
it was negative 20.
Negative 20.
Negative
So
20.
you ran negative 20 and you also ran 91 degrees.
Yeah. So
in the same week.
Yeah. In Antarctica, I was like, dear God, please just keep me warm. I'll never complain. And then I got to Dubai. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hot. I'm like, I'm seeing stars. And I called my dad. I said, I saw stars. And he's like, famous people? Yeah. I said, no, like I'm telling you, I saw stars. Like when I was closing my eyes, he's like, take it easy. That's it. Don't worry. And
what do you wear in Antarctica?
so you wear the Summit Series gear. I also had no idea what to wear. So I went to EMS and I said, I'm running a marathon in Antarctica. I need your help. And one guy was like, oh, I'm a runner. I know what you should wear. And he brings over this tiny little jacket. And I'm like, I'm going to die in that. I can't wear that. And he's like, well, if you wear like a parka, you're going to sweat. Trust me. So I took all of my gear for Antarctica and I went to Montreal and I went on 2 20-mile runs just to test it.
Yeah,
because it was Montreal was negative 20. And I remember the front desk, they were in the middle of like a storm and the front desk guy was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm going running. If I'm not back in 3 hours, come find me. Like I'm hitting the river. And he's like, all right, just take it, be careful. I'm like, okay. And I came back and he's like, I was so stressed out.
I'm stressed out even closer to the...
And I said it worked. So I called the EMS, EMS, the store. And
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
We're good. I tested my gear, and I put a pair of lining gloves on, and then I put hand warmers on, and then I put gloves over those, and you just keep moving. And then things you don't think of as like the water, they have to keep it hot because it will freeze if it's cold water. So you're drinking hot water, it doesn't taste good, and you don't feel totally hydrated, but you're running on a glacier, which feels like sand at the beach. That's what it feels like, running on sand. So you cross the finish line, you're like, I'm exhausted. Like, that was really, really tiring. But you just kind of shake it off and move to the next one.
What kind of shoes do you wear? Do you have to have spikes or
Yeah, I was gonna
anything?
say
You
Right,
can.
yeah.
Some runners wear spikes, but I'm endorsed by Newton Running, so I wear Newton trail sneakers. So trail sneakers will do the trick. They'll keep your feet warm. And I wore liners, and then I wore a wool sock over those.
Wow.
And
Now,
then
I got to ask this question, and I hope it's not out of line. How do you go to the bathroom while you're running a marathon in Antarctica?
So there's a tent. So you have to go in. Everything that goes into Antarctica comes out of Antarctica, and it's pristine. You have to wash your feet before you get on board. You have to wash your feet when you land because they want to just keep it as beautiful as possible. So everything all the bathroom potty stops, they have to be done inside the tent.
Okay.
Where there's actually like running water.
Wow.
So, but
you go.
everybody like you.
Then you got to peel all the layers.
You just the key to Antarctica, keep going, just keep going. So if you can hold it, but if not, then but you have to. It's a 10K course, so 4 loops, and you have to make a big decision if you're going. They're not every mile, so.
You wouldn't be able to do it. Your
No,
bladder's
I'm
the
horrible.
size of
I
Frankie
peed
Chirps.
twice before the show.
I know.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
definitely
And I remember tailgating one time when it was like 0 at a Patriots game. And I had like 15
Everything
layers
on.
on.
Yeah.
And there were moments where I was like, I think I'll just pee myself. Because one, it'll warm me up a little bit. And two,
hold
peeling
it.
everything off,
Yeah.
it took forever.
I'm an asshole. I went next to the car one time. It tripped all the way down to somebody's tailgate. They followed the line right back to my car. I'm like, dude, that wasn't us. Still your truck. Yeah.
We know it's you.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. No,
I digress.
I just it's still blowing my mind because now you did it twice. Well, one thing I want to point out, and this is applicable to any sport and even refereeing, you took a year to prepare. It wasn't like you just said, "Oh, I'm going to do this. I've run a bunch of marathons. I can do this." You took a year to prepare. You did specific things like go to Montreal and run.
Yeah, right.
And we talk about how in refereeing, because we're zebras, you can't just show up. You have to prepare. You have to practice. You have to work on your craft. And I think that's a great lesson for anyone watching, no matter what they're doing. Yeah. You gotta prepare. You can't just show up. And that's, I mean,
Wade Gretzky just said it on a reel. Like, that's what his father told him when he was 10. Don't prepare to, don't prepare. I forget the term, but it was something prepare to fail or something like that. If you don't prepare, like.
Those who don't prepare fail. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail.
Something like that. One of those terms. It was unbelievable.
I like the one chance favors those who prepare.
There you go.
Because you get the chance when you're prepared, you can do the job.
Right.
Much like a referee getting a call for a D1 game and never worked it. Chris Henry comes to mind.
Right.
But I don't want to go off on the referee and stuff. We talked about that enough.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is do your homework.
Yeah.
And never ever show up underprepared. And I would be too embarrassed not to finish. And I always tell my daughter, just like, know the course, know the elements, and sometimes I would go in and I would run 20 miles without water just to know what if we ran out of water. In Africa had a water drought. So we had no water in Africa. It was wild. And we had very minimal, but they were able to make it work for us. But
I almost want to call you Bill Belichick.
do your job, do your homework.
I know.
It does,
Right?
but you have to and I watched TED Talks of mental game, how to keep
a lot of
'cause
mental, right?
The highs of the 777 were incredibly highs, but those lows were low, and there was really no one to talk to, because if you reach out to somebody, they said, "Oh, that's okay, you made it to 6 marathons." No, it's not okay until I crossed that finish line, and that meant just envisioning crossing the finish line over and over in my training until I actually did it.
It's individual sport too, right? It's not like a team sport, right?
No.
It's like
And that was it. You're there to race, and that's you just have to figure it out and stay in the mile that you're in.
Yeah.
Now, you
Stay present.
did I hear correctly? You won every one of them?
Yeah, I did. I won all all the 14 races. And,
You both times you
yeah,
ran
both
one of
times.
them?
Yeah, I just took
Crushed it.
one, and then the second time there was a real fast girl from New York who was on an Olympic team, and you just have to don't worry about anybody else. Make your plan and race your plan.
Yeah, you
And that's
can't
what I
worry
did.
about anybody
No.
else. Yeah.
I just made a plan, raced my own plan, and got pretty lucky.
And like a lot of referees, like I never did this. They box score a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, why is this guy getting that game? Why is this guy getting this game? Worry about the game you're doing, because then
Right.
if you're worrying about something else, you're
Yeah.
already lost, right?
Yeah.
If you're not worrying about what you're doing, what you need to do to accomplish that day, then
Yeah.
you know,
Well, you can only control you.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. And
Control what
worrying,
you can control.
I always said, worrying never put more money in the bank for me. Worrying never did anything.
right?
It's wasted energy, right?
Yeah. And that's what, like, when then she went out, a couple of girls went out too fast. I'm like, let them go. Just let them go and reel them in and do your thing. That's what you do. And
What marathon was that? What
that was
continent?
the second time. The second time I ran it, it was
Okay.
the competition was much harder. And so, but I loved the race so much, I became the race director. So
Yeah, you were just in Antarctica,
yeah.
right?
So and that's really, really hard when the gun went off. I'm like, but
I want to go.
yeah, and so,
That's
and
kind of where I'm at.
You know,
My life.
I'm giving all the runners their numbers as race directors do, and I'm like, I want to race these girls. I want to race these guys. And
Yeah.
see how I
Still got the itch.
But I'm too. Not that I don't feel like I'm too. I feel like Antarctica is such a bear that I'll run it a couple times more, and then I think I'll retire from running in Antarctica because it's exhausting. It's really hard.
I'm still, I can't. I can't.
I don't even want to run a mile in Antarctica. Never mind.
I don't even know if I want to visit it. I don't even know if I want to go there, let alone.
I'm like, Mark, get out of the plane. Come on, come
Well,
out.
I think the
Wash
aliens
your
are there,
feet,
so let's
get
go
out of
there.
the
Yeah.
plane. Let's go.
But it is like you're like, oh my god, I'm in Antarctica. This is wild. No Wi-Fi, nothing. It's just nuts. And then you go back and you go back, and I've been 6 times. I love it. I really enjoy it. But
So like when you're in and out, obviously during all these. Now, did you ever get to experience the culture and the places, or was it just basically I'm in and I'm out?
in and out, you're averaging 12 hours per continent. So you are eating the foods in Dubai. You are
Right, yeah.
you're eating the foods, and we did see the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world. The race director said, "Do you want to go really quickly to go by the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world?" And
You gotta
but
see
we're not
that.
getting out. He's like, "We're not. So take the pictures from because we have no time."
Right.
So, but people would be like, "Oh, go visit this zoo," and I'm like, "Oh no, we have 12 hours. That's it." And so, but people said, "Isn't it really hard to go all the way to Africa and Dubai just to be there for 12 hours?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was really hard. But
Right.
there was a world record on the line." So
I hope that car had a sunroof. So
yeah,
you
it
didn't have to
was like one of those
do
double decker
right.
buses. We all had our faces like up, and it was like, wow, that's really cool. You can't even see the top of it, but that's that going into it. You know
Right.
people are like, that's kind of wild to go all that way, but that's what the point is, to race the 777.
Right.
So, is there a place that you ran one of the marathons that either you've gone back to or you would like to go back to just relax and check out the scenery?
The place that I love the most was Australia.
Yeah, I
and
bet.
so the race ended there. So we were there. My daughter, I said, do you mind? Can I stay 2 more days? Do you care? Do you mind? And she's like, Mom, go have fun. And
That's
I said, let me talk to my parents. And they said, yeah. And then they were like, Becca, you're in Australia. Because the plan was
Right.
to fly home that night. And the race was ended. We had like 2 more hours till I had to go to the airport. But I wanted to experience like the
need to
zoo
wind down,
and the Sydney Bridge and the Opera House. And so I stayed 2 more days.
Good for
And
you.
that was really awesome.
Yeah.
Dubai, I loved. I thought that Dubai was like really, really. You got to run by Atlantis, Dubai, and it was right there, and there were Maseratis and all these incredible cars. I'm like, I don't even feel like this is wild. This is so cool. This is that. So Dubai and Australia were definitely favorites, and Morocco was really, really cool. There were camels, like just walking the streets. That was like a camel,
That's
like as if
wild.
it was a dog. They were just camels, and they named their camels, and
That's nuts.
and so
That's crazy.
When I saw them in Egypt, I'm like, oh, that's cool. We already saw them, and I'm like, no, but that's just.
They're a lot bigger than you think they are.
Yeah, they are.
They're huge.
They
Yeah.
are huge.
So all right. So I'm still. I can't say how many times my mind's blown. So you. So the second time was easier? I mean, I hate saying easier, but
But you knew what to expect, right?
yeah.
I think-
and were they in different places?
Yeah, they did change the locations. We went to Colombia and different parts of. We went to Lisbon, Europe, which was awesome. That's why when I heard they changed the locations, I'm like,
Oh,
okay. Like even Antarctica, we went from Union Glacier to Novo, which is complete opposite sides of Antarctica. So I thought, wow, all of these locations are being changed, and this time it ends in Miami. So I'm gonna have so many friends and family. They thought that I was like a mayor somewhere. They were like, "Who is this girl that's right? Like, who is she? She's got to be really famous." And because I had so many people,
Well, yeah, you're the best. So.
so it was like really cool to have all these friends and family, and so I felt like I saw stress on the other people's faces, and I didn't feel that. I'm like, okay, I must have looked like that the first time, but I don't feel like stress. And then there was a pressure of, okay, she already did this, so she's gonna do really well. And then you can't come in second place with Tom Brady's help.
No.
That was the biggest thing that was like really, really stressful for me. But then I thought, like, he has spent so much time and money and effort on me that I'm going to win this race. I don't care whatever it takes. So that's kind of how.
So, like, you didn't go into it just to complete it. You went into it to beat the record.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm winning. If I'm doing it, I'm winning this thing.
Yeah, I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
I went to throw it. I was like reading everything I could about the courses and everything. And so, yeah, it took me a long time to, but that's pushed me. You know, it definitely I took hours off my time. So that was really good.
So So Miami was the same.
Yeah, Miami.
Antarctica was a different glacier.
Yeah, different glacier, like just different part of ice.
But then Lisbon was Europe.
Lisbon, yeah, Colombia, Cartagena, Colombia.
Okay.
Which is different. They were walking around with machetes.
I was going to say,
And
you got to run
I,
fast
I
there.
did. I got a little lost, and then I was like, what do I do? Do I ask somebody with a machete where to go, or do I? And then I ran into like a runner. I'm like, oh, good, I am going the right way. That was cool.
Lost in Colombia.
Yeah. That nothing will scare you like being lost in Colombia.
Snakes and spiders.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Cartel.
No,
I don't
that's
think
the
snakes.
cartel. Literally the cartel.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's really. But and don't forget, like as being a woman first of all, and then being like I think it's I'm an easy.
Well, you can outrun them.
Yeah, just keep running. Yeah, just keep
You're like,
running.
when's this girl going to slow down?
Yeah, we can't get you. They put a relay team together.
Like, man, ran out of gas.
That's right.
No,
fun,
where was,
yeah.
so Australia,
Yeah,
obviously, was Australia.
Australia.
But
Yeah,
was it in
Sydney.
Sydney?
Yeah, Sydney.
Okay.
And then we did. Did I say Cape Town, Africa? Did I
No.
say?
Nope.
Yeah, we did Cape Town, Africa. Everything,
wow.
all the locations were. Sydney had changed to Perth, so even Sydney changed to Perth.
Oh, yeah.
which was great. It was
Right.
It was awesome, and all of the courses were either circles or out and backs, so they could keep an eye on us and know where we were at all times. And
So you were sponsored by Brady. Who else were you sponsored by?
BMW, Lionwa Auto Group in Peabody. They had 7 dealerships. They were really, really good to me. In Lululemon.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so Lululemon put a team of guys on every continent except for Antarctica because they couldn't get there. And I had support from each location on every continent, so that was really helpful.
Does Lululemon want to sponsor a girls hockey team?
Sure, they're the best.
My daughter
They're
loves
so
it.
good. They're
We'll
the
wear
best.
Lululemon.
They are.
Yeah.
They are the best.
I mean, they don't have warm enough clothes apparently for Antarctica.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Those are like my liners.
Yeah, that's what we go. My daughter wears those under her goalie stuff.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
They were really. When I threw out the first pitch, the founder Lauren at the time, who's a guy who lived in Canada, he came out to watch me throw out the first pitch.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was cool. It was like he was so supportive, and it was really cool.
That's awesome that like the sponsorships do that. Like they're
They're
not just
awesome.
like here, just
Yeah.
go spend up. They actually invest in
yeah.
you and care about you, and that's awesome.
Feel very lucky.
now, did you get to meet and hang with Tom Brady?
Yeah, I got to meet him in the locker room. He's really, really nice. Like just an awesome guy. And I said I'll do my best to make you proud. And he said you already have. And I'm like, oh God, now I really.
That's all you need,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah, and then he shared a bunch of stuff on Facebook, like she did it. Like I'm like, and so I was in a meeting. I have my 5K. It's coming on its 10th annual 5K in Belmont, and we have our meeting. We sit down, and my phone is just blowing up, and I'm like, what is happening? And it was like Tom Brady shared a couple of your posts. I was
That
like-
is so cool.
and that was really
incredible.
awesome. Like the greatest of all times. Like just cares about me. Like I really felt he put a whole team of people on me, which is just awesome.
That's amazing. So Brady, Ortiz, 2 of the GOATs in Boston, right? I mean, the best clutch hitter in playoff history of the
Yes.
MLB.
Incredible.
Along with Brady.
He did some
Have
things.
you met Bobby Orr?
I met him at a hockey thing, and he was he bowed down to me. I was like, "Oh, get up! This is awkward. Get up! You're amazing."
That's
he
crazy.
Was just so nice.
That's awesome. And then who? I mean, you could pick any. Paul Pierce, Larry Bird, from the Celtics.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got like to sit on the bench like during a game. It was
what?
Yeah, like it was just like how when I won the Antarctica marathon, they called and said, "Do you want to come sit down on?" I was like, what?
That is awesome. All
So
they gotta
I-
do was just run a marathon,
like,
sit
I
on the
was like,
bench.
that was really, really cool. I was like, yeah, okay. And then they did like a little halftime, but those. It was
Yeah,
just
right.
nuts.
That is
It was
awesome.
Wild. Couldn't believe it. Like, that was really cool.
Those are like the unexpected perks that, like, you're just doing something you love
Yeah.
and you accomplish something,
Yeah.
and then along the way, like all this good stuff happening because you're.
It's true. I was
your ass off.
Elliot from Jordan's Furniture called, and he said, "Hey, come. Can we do a commercial together?" And he had just done one with Pedro, and he said. I said, "You're not going to believe this, but I sleep in a Beauty Rest Black." And he's like, "Oh my God." He's like, "I was wondering how it would make the tie." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been in a Beauty Rest Black for like 3 years. I love it. I would never." So I went down and he got his little like ponytail snipped. Like he has like a tail.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
like, "Do you need anything?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay. I'm all right." And he was so fun and funny. And we made a commercial, Jordan's Furniture commercial.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's like,
awesome.
"I sleep in a Beauty Rest Black. Can I run 7 marathons on 7 o'clock?" And I say, "No." and then he looks at me, and that was the commercial. But it took us 7 hours, 7 hours. So for 30 seconds, everyone has been so incredibly awesome. I feel very lucky.
All right. So my last 2 questions about the 7, 7, and 7. How many people have done it?
I think 315.
Oh, wow.
So
But you're the first American woman.
Yeah, and I have the fastest time.
And is
You
any
have the
other-
record?
Has any other American woman done it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Since I've done it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
But you were the 1st. And so what put you in the Guinness Book of World Records? And I'll say right now, I doubt we'll ever get another guest who's in the Guinness Book of World Records on this show.
No, we probably won't.
I think you might be the only one.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw out there,
Yeah.
maybe it'll happen again, but I doubt it.
So when the Guinness Book of World Records comes in the mail, I cried. It was like the first time that I was like, "Oh my God, I did it," because I put so much blood, sweat, and tears into it that it really felt like real to me. Like, wow, I really am a world record holder, and the record's gonna be broken. But at least at some point in my life, I made history. You know,
Yes.
and that was like really, really cool. It's the fastest time, 6 days, 17 hours, and 58 minutes that put me into it. So
Smokes. So you didn't even, it really wasn't 7 days.
yeah, it was under 7 days. Yeah, so I'd like to charter a plane and do it again under 5 hours, and we've been talking about that with some sponsorships. So to go after the men's record, which is 4 days and 17 minutes. So well, stay tuned. Because
More to come.
I'd like to do
Tell
that.
Brady to buy you a plane.
Yeah, charter me around.
Right? I mean, he's got a little cash kicking around even after the divorce.
I think that would
He's got
be
plenty.
Yeah, he would do it. That would be fun. That would be really fun. to do
Wow.
that. But that would be 2 marathons a day. That's all about getting the timing right, I think too.
All right. All right. I'll let that.
That's
go.
a lot to digest.
I'll let that go now. The 7, because from my money, that's the most incredible athletic feat.
Yes.
Not a feat. The most athletic feat I ever heard.
Yes.
I can't think of anything else that would rival that. I mean, I think that surpasses Captain Ryan Crowley, the 5-mile swim in the middle of the Atlantic
that's
Ocean.
wild.
Oh, that's wild.
nothing.
Yes.
That's wild.
That's nothing compared to that.
Right.
Seriously. Those SEALs.
Wow.
I'd put you up against them any day. Now, all right, so Boston Marathon.
Yes.
How many times have you run?
21 consecutive.
21 consecutive ones.
21 consecutive. Yeah, it's where I got my start. My grandmother used to take me to Heartbreak Hill, and I would watch the runners go up, and I got a little high five from one of the runners, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to run this race someday." And I was 6, I think. And so when I turned 17, I ran it, and then I kept running it. I love it. It's really awesome.
It is.
And we've been through it all. Of course, the bombing happened, and that sucked. That was terrible.
That was
and
awful.
That was
Had
really
you
sad.
finished?
I had finished and gotten in the car and heard it. And then my sister said, "Oh, thunder. I didn't know it was going to thunder today." I said, "Oh, neither did I. That's wild." And then the phones went silent. So my parents were trying to call us and couldn't get in touch with us. And so that was really awful. And then I came home, I showered, and my parents come into the room and collapsed. They're like, "We've been trying to call you. Where have you been?" And so that was really horrific. But I became real good friends with race director Dave McGilvery. And we've had some fun and done a ton of races together and became really, really good friends. He was the one that I asked about the 777. I said, "What do you think about this?" And he said, I think you could do it and go for it and make history. And then he wound up doing it too. The 777. Yeah, so he was great. And we had a lot of fun together over the time. But I love the Boston Marathon.
What's your favorite part? Because Boston Marathon's so unique because it starts out in Hopkinton.
Yeah.
It's not like the New York City Marathon or I'm sure Miami.
Yeah.
It's unique in that way. So there's so many. I don't know if I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong. It has personality.
Yeah,
Yes.
You get the bikers in Ashland, which is so fun. All the
bikers
riding
line up,
motorcycles.
yeah.
They got their mustaches and helmets, and they're cheering for you. And then there's always Santa like coming up and at the end of Ashland, and you're like, "Give me a PR, Santa. Get me a personal record." And he's really fun and really looks like Santa. And then the Scream Tunnel in Wellesley is deafening. Like you can hear this roar coming from miles away. You're like, "Oh, I cannot wait to get there." And then you run through the Scream Tunnel in Wellesley. You're halfway there. That's really, really fun. I like the hills of Heartbreak. That's where I really try and fight going up them. I don't mind. I train on them because I live in Belmont, which is only 5 miles from the hills. So I run there, run up the hills, run home. I like the hills a lot. That's where we get a lot of support. Cleveland Circle is awesome. That's where the roar just
That's where everybody's boozing.
Yeah, that's really fun. Yeah, that's a good time. And right on Hereford, left down Boylston Street. It's awesome. I really enjoy on Patriots Day. What better to celebrate Patriots Day? And
I love going to the Sox game that day.
yeah,
The
Sox game. Everyone's telling you on whiteout boards the score.
Oh yeah.
So they say like Red Sox, and then they do the whiteout, and they tell you. You're like, "Oh, that's cool." You get that.
That is cool.
Yeah.
What's it like to turn that last corner?
Oh, tears. Even people are like, "Oh, it must get old." No, it does not get old. It never ever gets old. And it looks further, and then so you start your sprint, and then you get more tired, and then your sprint slows down a little bit. But it's awesome. I think that everybody should run a marathon. They're life-changing experiences. I really
I'm
think.
getting a little.
Start with a 5K, then go to 10K, then go to half marathon, and then do a marathon. And you'll never regret it. And they're life-changing.
My sister-in-law's done it. Yeah, my uncle's done it.
The pace doesn't matter.
I always said that was one of my bucket list things was to run a Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
Then 3 back surgeries, a couple knee surgeries. I'm like, I don't know if I could do it physically. Mentally, I think I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty up here that's wrong that would get me through that race.
Yeah.
But physically, I think it might kill me. And that's what I would worry about. Because even the training would... I remember trying to train for those runs and stuff, and running always hurt. That would be my only thing.
There's aqua running. You can run in a pool. There's like so many things that you can do.
Can you do that for the whole marathon? Can I get dragged in a hot tub?
A little like.
I'll just keep running in the hot tub.
There's a way. There's so many ways. If you put a team together of people to help you, that there'd be you
need support.
Yeah, but it is. It's really a mental game, and then you just drag your body through it. But I always say on your first marathon, enjoy it. Don't worry about don't even time it. Who cares? You cross the finish line of a marathon, it doesn't matter. Your time doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Just run to finish. It's really life changing.
Now, do you run the whole time, or do you ever take breaks and walk, or is it like a complete jog the whole way?
I try and race. I always have 2 goals going into every single race, like on my A goal, and then a backup goal in case A doesn't go so well.
Right.
And I have the B goal to work for. But I always have, and then I run the whole way and just run through the water stops and take what I need and keep going.
So what would like an A goal be?
Sub 305. So I'm trying to crack 3, which has been harder than I thought. It's a 6:48 pace. I can get it down to 3:03, my marathon time. So I always like to be under 3:05, no matter what country I'm in, under 3:05. But under 3:09 if my A goal's not going so well.
Okay.
Then my B goal.
Man. And
It's only like a 4-minute difference.
I know. That's why I'm trying to break
Yeah.
3. I'm like, it's just 3 minutes, but it's a lot in a marathon. It really is.
that is, yeah.
I mean,
I suppose.
even cutting your mile time down is hard.
Yeah, it's hard. That's hard.
I'm thinking if I did run it, and maybe I will,
You should.
now that maybe you could help me.
I can help you. I would love to help
But-
you.
I'm thinking I'm that guy at like 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
Everyone's gone home.
But we get the
That's
same
when I
medal.
used to
We
run,
all
though.
get the same medal. It doesn't matter. We all
That's
get this,
true.
and no one cares. They're like, "Oh my God, you ran the Boston Marathon." They're not like, "What was your time?" I say, "What was your time?" If people that ask me, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
"What was your time?" "Oh, you didn't run."
Yeah,
so
right.
that's the people that ask, the people that aren't really running. But they're like, "You when you say you run the Boston Marathon, it's pretty cool."
Yeah. I mean, growing up here, and it's such a part of the city.
Yeah.
It's such a huge sporting event.
Yeah.
It's a huge event. Like even non-runners
Right.
are into it, right? Like
Right.
we all
Yeah.
watch on TV
Yeah.
or go there and
It's
cheer
our
people
thing.
on.
It's our Boston thing.
It's a
Well,
Boston thing, just like the
speaking
Bruins
of-
and Celtics and all that.
Right.
holiday.
It's something we take pride in. We're like, oh, we have the Boston Marathon.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like, isn't the
That's
oldest race?
Yeah, it's the oldest. It's like the grandfather marathon, and that's exactly what happened with Zdeno Chara.
Yeah, I want to bring
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
Z,
perfect
yep.
leading
So
because
no, yeah, because Ben Rawitz called me, and Ben Rawitz is Tom Brady's manager, and I had trained Ben for Antarctica, so he called me. I'm like, "What's up?" And he said, "I have a question. Can you go meet with Zdeno Chara?" I'm like, "The hockey player?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Cool, yeah, sure." But I told Ben, I'm like, "I don't know, because like pro athletes, they're hard to they think they know a lot of things," and Ben's like, "Not this guy." So I met with him, and I was kind of looking at his Strava, which is like a workout app, and I'm like, "You're pretty fit. Do you want to run the Boston Marathon?" He's like, "When is it?" "Yeah, I watched it. We used to watch it in the locker rooms in the ruins and to psych ourselves up." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's do it." And so I met with him, and I said, do you think you could be ready for the Boston Marathon in 3 months? And he's like, "Yeah, I do. Can I do it?" So I called Dave McGilvery, the race director, and he's like, "Zdeno Chara." I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh my God, have him call me. I would love to." So I said, "If you're serious and you want help, I'll be happy to help you." And it was so awesome. He was so coachable. He said he had a little notebook and paper, and he said, "Anything that you say, I'll do." And he followed the plan to a T.
I was going to say hockey players, for whatever reason, they're the most coachable, and they will, whatever you tell them, they'll go do.
He did it. He followed it to a T. I was so excited. So then I thought, he said, "You're going to run with me?" And that was not my plan to run with him. I was like, well, we would have.
Your stride's a little different.
you're a little slow.
Yeah. I was like, we probably would have different paces, but I would love to forfeit my race to run with you. It would be my honor to do that for you. And so we ran. It was the Zdeno Chara parade. Everybody had jerseys from, I didn't even know he played for these teams. Like all these, and then of course the Boston Bruins and
Ottawa,
hats.
yeah.
And so if I would see a little kid when I was running, or, I'm like, "He's coming. He's right here." And they're like, "What?" And so he had his own cheer squad. And then on Boylston Street when he crossed the finish line. And
I remember that,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it was awesome. So somebody went to go place the medal around his neck, and he's like, "Becca does it." And I was like, that was really cool. So I put
that's
the medal
awesome.
around, and he thanked me 500 times. And since then, he's done 5 world majors. He just has Tokyo left, and there's 7 world majors, and then he has Tokyo and Chicago left. So he has 2 world majors, and he ran 9 marathons last year and 2 Ironmans. But if you look at his Strava, he is killing it. He's so badass, and his workouts are a full-time job. It's nuts.
Well, he's a born leader, right? Like when he go to the Bruins training camps, he always led everybody in all the fitness, right?
You can just say he takes over. He just
Yep.
does exactly what he'll say. "You want to do 2 more?" I'm like, "Okay, let's do 2 more miles." And he brought his time down to 3:09, which is fast.
That's incredible.
It's fast. So he'll break sub 3. Probably before I will, which would be wild. I hope he doesn't, but hopefully.
At his age, too, right? Is that, like,
seriously,
unheard
yeah,
of?
Yeah, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very tough to come in this late in the game and to run a 3:09. It's like, unheard of. But of course he does it. And
He's a specimen.
Yeah,
but
he
especially
is.
the way he's built too, right?
Yeah.
Like his joints got to be a lot different than like
recovery.
Yeah.
And I
So
just
tall.
say, take it easy with the recovery. Make sure. And so he gets his massages, and I just tell him, like, just be super careful. And he is, and he's really good to himself with. So he takes precaution. But it's really awesome to watch him go, and he'll finish the world majors, and he'll run some more states, and it's really fun to be a part of that. And I got to run with Patrice. I got to pace Patrice, and he ran. I mean, I never saw anything like this. It was 5K, and I said, "What do you think you could do for And he had no idea. He's like, "You could tell me I run 8-minute miles, or I don't know what that means."
Right.
So we went out, and he ran 6:24 pace for 5K.
Wow.
And he crossed finish line. I'm like, "You're really fast. You want to run the Boston Marathon?" So I'm like,
Is he gonna do it?
I think he'll do it next year, and he really is into the other workout, those Spartan stuff.
Oh, yeah,
lifting
okay.
and
Is he going to come out of retirement?
Yeah, I think he should. I think,
looks like he could.
He is so fast. He ran so fast that 5K. It was really fun to be with him. I
He
love
played with a
professional
punctured
athletes.
lung.
Yeah.
Right? Like he played
They don't
3
complain.
games with a punctured lung.
I did the black
Yeah.
and gold game his rookie year.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't. These professional athletes, they don't complain. You have to like beat it out of them. Like, what's wrong? I saw you didn't work out today. What's going on? And then they're like, oh, okay, this kind of hurts. I'm like, okay, take it easy. But they're fun. They're so fun and so badass, and it's really been fun to be part of their journey.
I'm laughing because I'm picturing Big Z in Tokyo.
Yeah. He
Like
will
they're
stand
gonna
out.
think he's
He
Godzilla.
Will, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's gonna be awesome.
He's gonna.
That's gonna be
They got
great.
tall people over there. though.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, with him
He's-
now. That's funny.
Yeah, he clocked me on a run one time in the face and the elbow, and he's like, "Sorry, I have no control over my limbs." I'm like, I shouldn't have been so close to you, but he's fun.
And you kept running.
And I
You
kept
get-
running. Yeah, I
Take
think
a head contact
he
from
did.
Chara.
He said 2 minutes in the penalty box. I'm going to the penalty box. 2 minutes. Yeah.
I was telling you the story about the penalty box. He high stick that own Bruin, and a buddy of mine was doing the game, and Zeke comes over, and I probably shouldn't tell the story because it was a power play for the Bruins that he took down. But he goes, "Hey, that was my own stick, and he was like, "They were like, you're kidding me, thanks."
I remember
that's how he
that
is.
game.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
Yeah, my buddy. My buddy did the game. He told the story. Yeah,
That's how
I'll
he
keep
is.
his name
Yeah,
out
well,
of it.
that's
Yeah,
him.
he's honest and
But
loyal.
yeah, he's just a nice human being.
Yeah, very honest, very loyal, huge community guy. Whatever the community needs, he shows up 100% of the time.
Yeah,
I had a cool story with him. So my brother was the Bruins dentist for 31 years. My nephew now took over. And, of course, Big Z goes to him and has been going to him for years. So it was actually the first time I met him. First time I met him, I said, "Hey, I'm Dr. Riley's brother," because that's
That's it,
And
right?
he went off on how great my brother was. This past year, when I saw him and I said, "My brother says to say hi," he knew that my brother retired and turned the business over to my nephew and Dr. Hahn, who's in partnership with my nephew. Like, he knew that. Yeah. And just to know that, and like that shows you he's not that big time athlete who's above everyone and not connected.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, when he said that, I was like, holy moly, like, that's pretty cool.
and he's another Boston guy that played for the Bruins, played here forever, and he retired here, and he probably will never move here, right? Like, a lot, like, for whatever reason, all the Boston Capitals, all the Boston Bruins, Ray Bork's here.
Yeah,
like,
good
they all stick around.
Yeah.
Patrice will be like,
Yeah.
their families are here. It's like, I don't know what it is about Boston and hockey, but that just seems to be a trend.
Good point. I did ask him, "Do you ever see yourself going back to Slovakia?" And he said, "No way."
Yeah,
I thought that was so cool.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Now, we've talked about that, like with Frank Simonetti, the president of the Bruins alumni.
yeah.
There's so many guys, like their alumni is so strong because there's so many guys that just don't leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the city
Embraces them,
embraces them, and they embrace the city.
Yeah.
And that energy back and forth is just it's kind of I don't.
You don't
know
see that anywhere else.
No,
like when,
I
like,
don't think so.
When Thornton won the cup in Anaheim, he was like, "Yeah, we went to the beach with it." He's like, that was about it.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, well, and in 2011, that thing saw almost every bar room
Yeah,
in
right.
Boston with Sagan and Marchand taking it around everywhere. I mean, there's such a huge part of the city.
It was a party for the whole summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you can pick a favorite. Boston, obviously,
Boston's
number one
my
in
favorite.
your heart.
Yeah.
But from all the other marathons, and you said you ran one in all 50 states.
Yeah.
So, first of all, my head is so filled with so many questions because it's fascinating. That's right. We're chewing the neuro gum. We tried the neuro gum today, and we're flying with ideas. I probably shouldn't chew it anymore. What was your favorite state to run in outside of Boston?
So my favorite marathon was fairy tale ending. It was the Jackson Hole, Wyoming marathon. And the race, I told them, hey, I'm on my way with 50 friends and family. It's my 50th marathon. They gave me bib number 50, but I really, really wanted to win the marathon. Like, I really was like, I got to go out with a bang and finish 50 states. My dad's coming and my mom and my daughter. I just really want to win it. So my friend Scott paced me for the marathon, and I won the marathon. And when I ran through the finish line, my husband and my dad were holding the finish line tape, and my daughter crossed the finish line, and like our arms were in the air. And that was like, and it was the 50th marathon and 50th state. I mean, and it was, I'll never ever forget all of my friends and family being there. That really, really meant a lot to me. That was definitely a favorite of mine. And the course was gorgeous, like Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It was like perfect. There were some states that I don't care if I ever go back to.
All right, so
Ohio.
what was your least favorite?
Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh God, I
love
So
North Dakota.
It's just the weirdest. Like, I always check
It is
in
weird,
and I
yeah.
say, I am here for 2 days. What should I do? And they said, there's a brand new KFC down the street. I said, so I didn't know. I'm like, what's that? What is the KFC? And I said, oh, like Kentucky Fried Chicken. And they were like, yeah. I'm like, is there anything else to do here? And they said, yeah, go to the visitor center and put on those hats with the ears. And
Don't you know?
And I was like, yeah. And so we did that, and we ate the free popcorn. And I'm like, I want to go home, like this. And then that was only like marathon number 14, and I'm like, is this rest of the 50 states going to be like that? Like,
That's
I don't know.
wild.
But then you go to Vegas, and like Cher sang the national anthem. I had an elite start, so she was looking into my soul, singing to me, and I was like, what? And there were Tarzans in the nude. Like, it was so fun. And like,
That's Vegas, baby.
Yeah, and I was like, just eyes on the road, like, just because I saw all sorts of things. And then I was like, cross the finish line, and you're in Vegas. I'm like, this is so fun. So Alaska was amazing. I really, really loved Alaska.
Where'd you go in Alaska?
We were in Anchorage.
Anchorage, I love Anchorage.
That was
yeah.
awesome. That was really an awesome trip, and that was a great. But this 50 states, I loved it. I'm not doing it again because it's.
You didn't do it in 50 days in a row.
No, I took.
Okay.
It took.
I was gonna say,
did about
if she
10
did that-
marathons per year, so a little over 5 years. But I started the journey and then went to college and then ran a couple more and then had a baby and then. But yeah, I run about 10 to 13 marathons a year.
So Fargo is where. So Fargo had a team in the USHL.
Yeah, I had
when I was
food
roughing
poisoning
up.
there on New
You
Year's
got
Eve.
food
Surprised. I got a
poisoning.
KFC.
You got food poisoning.
Yep.
Johnny Lively flipped his Jeep on the way home. I hit a blizzard.
Jesus.
And it was only like 3 miles from the exit. And it took me like 2 hours to get from where I hit the blizzard. I showed up in the second period for the game. Every time Dave Hansen drove off into the ditch, Fargo was like the absolute worst place no one wanted to go.
Just drive. You don't see nothing, and you just see like lights ahead, and then it's like this little town, and then you just keep drive. Then it's Grand Forks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and just the weird, like Indiana, and there's just like such weird. I'm like, how do people? There was one state, let me think, that didn't know what Amazon was,
What?
and they were like, so you order a package and it comes to your house. I'm like, yeah, within 4 hours. And they're like, well, why don't you just go to Staples? I'm like, well, we could do that. We could go to Staples, but
Maybe it was Missouri.
But it was definitely
West Virginia?
like.
I could
West
see them
Virginia.
not
West
knowing.
Virginia might.
West Virginia was weird.
Yeah.
West Virginia
It's
was
like The Peoples Have Eyes, that
Yeah.
movie.
Where,
Yeah.
where,
That's what it
where
was
in
like.
West Virginia?
West Virginia. I
Was it
forget-
Wheeling?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Wheeling. I have to think of Sterling. Sterling.
Okay.
And that was weird. It was the gun start was 2 big guns this big. No, it's like a little gun. This was a big gun, and I'm like,
Yeah, you're in the country,
and they
but
had
yeah, it's
long
different out
beards
there in
and
the
top
Midwest.
hats and
They use a real gun and a bird falls in front of you.
It was like that.
Start
It was like that. One state didn't know. Yeah, Amazon. I'm like, Amazon. Like, you order the.
I lived in Omaha, Nebraska for a hockey season, so that was
Yeah,
interesting.
that's
City
where-
kid, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Des
where.
Moines. We were in Des Moines.
Yeah,
Chris
Des
Rooney
Moines
and
was,
I were in
there was
Des
a
Moines.
apartment there.
Yeah.
That was kind of a weird place. How was Arizona? I would think that was
Phoenix.
hot as
Yeah, it was really hot.
Africa.
It's a desert too, which also Antarctica is a desert. So you're not really realizing that you're extra thirsty because those desert states, oh my God, they're so hard. That Vegas was very hot. You just kind of take it
The
back.
dry heat, though.
Yeah, it's dry heat.
Yeah, so is my oven.
That's what it's like.
I wouldn't want to run a marathon in it.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
You had to do Vegas in the winter.
It
months?
was March.
March, okay.
It was March.
Because I was out there in the summer one time
Yeah.
doing shows.
Oh,
at
it's
the
like
Riviera.
110, yeah.
The old
Ridiculous.
Riviera.
They ran the race at midnight, so it goes off, and then
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like 3 a.m, and people are still out partying.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
that was good.
Yeah, Vegas. There was like how you have the wind chill.
Yeah.
The wind blew the heat. It was like hitting you with a board in the face. It
yeah.
was like a wind heat chill or
Right.
whatever the
Oh,
hell
yeah.
you'd call it.
Heat wave.
It was
Heat wave.
insane. It was 113, I think, when I was out there.
Yeah,
like-
I was there 115, some stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Antarctica is the coldest marathon. Well, what was the hottest temperature you've run in?
Probably. Well, I've run a ton of marathons in Florida where it got really, really hot. But during the 777, I'd have to say Cartagena, Colombia was also 90 degrees. Four of those, in addition to the 777 travel, and 4 of them were plus 80 degrees. Wow. So that was because we have to run it based off Antarctica's summer, because you can't run it. It'd be negative 50 if we run in the winter there. So
Stupid.
so
Can't
that
be
means
outside.
it's summer in Africa and Australia, and so.
Now, did you have to cover like your whole face? Like
But you wear
can't have,
goggles.
like you'd get.
Yeah, you wear goggles because
Yeah.
the sun. If you look at my Facebook, my Instagram pages, the races are running like 2 a.m, and the sun is really blinding. It's really, really strong, and it beads off of like the glacier and hits your face, so you have to cover your neck. It all balaclavas and.
Right.
And as the race director, it's really stressful. People are like, no, I don't like to run in those. I said, no, it's a you absolutely have to, because you get blisters. And when I ran Antarctica, I lost vision in my right eye for 2 days because the sun was so strong. And I was bumping into everything at home. I was like, and I called the doctor. I'm like, is it going to come back? Am I definitely going to get my, and she's like, yeah, you're definitely, we think you are. I'm like, they're like, we don't study a lot of athletes that go to Antarctica. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Again, didn't tell my parents anything. But I was like, if I lose vision in my right eye, that was dumb. And so that when I give my presentation to the runners as a race director, I'm like, this happened to me. Like I showed them the photo and I said, and I lost vision for 2 days. And then they're like, okay, what do we need to do? Because they're so afraid to lose their vision.
That's something that you'd never think of, too.
No, fries your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in Antarctica, I would think when,
Yeah.
what do you call it? Frostbite and those kind of things.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think of the blinding sun.
God rest his soul, Butchie Mousseau, goes out for warm-ups without a helmet on, cracks his noodle, and, so, like, I've never gone out, like, even there's coaches that go on the ice without a lid on, they put the winter hat on, I'm like,
No way.
bucket
Yeah.
all day.
No. I told the story, your dad always said, strap your helmet.
Yeah.
His dad always said, strap your helmet.
Yeah.
'Cause if
And
you fall and your helmet's not strapped.
Game over.
a lot of guys
Yeah.
unstrap it right after the game, and I never do.
No, I never do.
Because
Go
of your
lying off
dad.
the ice strapped, yeah.
And I did a game. It was one of those beast games, it was one of those stupid tournaments.
Yeah.
And
Don't trust the kids.
I forget where
Yeah.
the rink is. It's up in the north. But I was getting off, and the ice slides down.
Oh, yeah.
Like a little bit, and I stepped on that and went, whew, and my head slammed the ice. And if my bucket wasn't snapped, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Right.
wouldn't be sitting here because my head would have smashed the ice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. So now, do you have to cover your mouth and
Your
nose?
whole-
Like how
Everything,
do you
yeah,
do it?
mask.
Yeah, everything. So you work with these balaclavas that have the holes, they can breathe through them. So, but it definitely is hard you feel like you're kind of suffocating in Antarctica because you have so much gear on and so many things. I ran in goggles, which was putting pressure on my face because I can run in sunglasses, but goggles were different. But, Oakley does great job, keeps good at sunglasses, but you have to just stay covered the whole time.
And it's daytime down there,
Yeah,
24
always. Yeah,
hours
24 hours,
in
yeah.
the summertime.
Yeah.
Kind of like
'Cause
Alaska.
we're-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there for that.
They're
That's
tilted.
cool.
Yeah.
They're tilted during the summertime. So
All the races tend to be at like 2 a.m. You'll see how bright it is.
that's
Incredible story. Like,
No.
awesome. And it's still going. I love it.
Thanks.
I know. So you're running the Boston Marathon this
Yeah,
year,
running
of
Boston.
course. Are you running with anyone, or are you running to race it?
I'm gonna race it this year unless anybody needs help, and then I'm running London, which is the 6 days later. So
Wow.
I did that last year, and then that's good.
And you've run London before?
Yeah, I ran London.
I was
twice
just
before.
in London. I went to London.
love
First
it.
trip to Europe.
You could do that as your first marathon.
Yeah.
Oh, was that like a family trip, or is it just some
No, I was
going
running-
business trip?
Going to race the marathon.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think I think I'm a one and done guy.
Then Boston.
Boston's.
No,
it's-
if you run a marathon, you have to run the Boston
Yeah,
one. Like,
yeah.
what
No,
else are you
yeah,
gonna go
I'm
to Chicago? Like,
No, if
No,
you're
I
one and
wouldn't-
done.
no.
But I'll tell you something. I don't know anybody that's just done one marathon. If you can,
Well,
I've
I'll be
run
your
my-
first.
well, my college roommate, him and his wife, they got into running,
Yeah.
and like he qualified for the Boston one a few years ago, or whatever. And I remember he was going out to the Chicago one, and I was flying out the same day. We shared a cabin.
Yeah.
He went and crushed the Chicago one.
Yeah, I think and then he's run more.
And then he's run the Boston one. Yeah.
Because even if you're like, all right, I'm gonna do that again. That was because it's an incredible feeling. So you'll do it again.
Yeah, a bunch of my cop buddies, Brendan England, he runs it every year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it must be like tattoos.
Yeah, they're addicting.
It is, yeah.
I got my first tattoo last year of the
Yeah.
zebra, and I'm planning on getting the other one
That's
because you're not going to do
It's
it.
No, I'm
like
not getting a
tattoos.
tattoo,
Like
no.
this sucks. This hurts a lot.
Yeah.
I'll get through it, and the finish will be worth
I'll
it.
wear the product. I'll
yeah.
wear the product. I can take it off. I can't take a tattoo
You're
off.
not taking it.
Yeah.
You're afraid of Frankie Church, my little Yorkie. You can't handle a tattoo. Are you kidding me? And a shout out to Takano Tattoo.
Yeah.
That's who did mine, and he's fantastic. And my nephew got me into it,
Yeah.
or got me hooked up with him. His whole back is down.
Yeah,
with
my
a
sister
juice thing.
has
It's
them. I
insane.
can't do it.
I have
Yeah.
a running stick figure, and my parents hate it. They said, "Oh, that's really nice."
Like I have no qualm. I don't judge anybody that has
Yeah.
them. I just don't.
You
I
just
don't want
no,
it.
you just don't want
I don't
one.
judge people.
It's not
no.
that you don't like them. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
you don't
you
want
don't
Enough for me.
Yeah, that's all. You can go get the ink ones at the carnivals.
I get the stick in
We'll get
my
you-
daughter put. Actually, my daughter gave me a facial last night, and I went to pick up breakfast, and I had like the stickers that she had on my I had the star still on from this
And they're
morning.
like, "What the hell?"
I came home. I
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, you really don't think this?"
This is so embarrassing.
Oh, they all saw it. They were,
Yeah,
we're letting Dad go out.
Well, now I know why the lady gave me a look this morning.
Yeah, now you know why.
That's hilarious.
I was like,
So in London, only because I'm familiar with it, most fascinating thing was the TJ Maxx downtown.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh my God.
yes, that is cool. Yeah,
My whole
I've been
outfit
there.
for New Year's.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Armani, I got an Armani suit coat
Yeah.
for like $200.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know was a good deal. But does it only go in the city?
No, it does a whole loop. It's great. Yeah, it does it in like Buckingham Palace. It finishes on Mall Road.
No way.
That's awesome.
I mean, you're
That
running
road,
yeah.
road that runs up to Buckingham that goes over to the London Bridge.
Yeah, it's
No
so it's unbelievable. It's really awesome. Yeah, I really like that one a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that one.
London's awesome.
I'm doing Boston.
Boston.
right.
Start
Well,
with Boston.
I'm
and
gonna
then
hold you to it.
Let me know.
No, here's the. I'll say it right now. I can't obviously do
Yeah.
it this year because
Yeah.
I haven't trained and I got the boot for
Next
another
year,
3
year.
weeks.
make it a next year goal.
But next year, I'm going to run the marathon.
2026.
Yeah, just say you're gonna do it, and then you'll. And then,
Eventually
always
start,
wanted
like,
it.
once you
Yeah.
start training, then that's it.
It's on my
just
bucket list.
Announce it, and then we make it happen.
No, what would you say? Like, a couple of Joe Schmoes like us never ran the marathon. What would you give for advice to start training? When should they start training? Like, say we're a year out. Start now.
4
Like,
months is
4
all you
months is
need.
good?
Really, 4 months is all you need. The
Okay.
best thing to do is link up with a charity team. Like Z and I chose Team Hoyt because we love the Hoyts and they were on my foundation
yeah.
board, and we really had a great relationship with them. There's so many hockey.
The
people-
Bruins
yeah,
have
the
it.
A
Bruins-
The
ton of
Bruins
charities.
alumni
You're right.
team.
I didn't even think of
They
that.
have a
Right.
team.
The best thing, and then you get all their training plans, and they have like advanced and beginners, or it's just you feel like you have more support going through
And
charity.
you train with people too.
Yeah, they
Oh,
meet
that's
every
cool.
single Saturday, and then they do some other runs Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at Marathon Sports. You can go to one or every Saturday or whatever you feel. Sometimes you can go on Saturday if you feel like you need support with like a 16-mile run. It's course supported. They have water, Gatorade, bars, bananas, everything that you need. And then to wear the Team Hoyt kit race kit it's just really awesome. Like
Yeah.
you get your name on your shirt, so people that you don't even know, they're like, yeah, Mark, go Mark, you got this, and you don't know who that person is. That's what I love about Boston is people will get in your face and cheer for you. You've never met them before. So name on the shirt and linking up with a charity and for a purpose.
Well, whoever you run for, I'm running
that's
for
it.
because
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
never going to be able to do this without serious help.
But we'll help.
I know this.
Yeah.
The only thing
no
I'm
one
really
does,
worried
yeah.
about is 3 back surgeries.
Yeah.
My lower back is a train wreck, and I can't have another surgery. 'cause
Pliability.
If I do,
Yeah, that's
it's-
exactly what it is. It's like pliability, deep tissue massages, foam rolling. It's just really just keeping an extra eye on it and staying 2 strides ahead of it. So like, and then if you're tweaky and it's hurting, you back off. And then when you feel good again, you go. That's exactly
Great advice.
You know, that's how. But and that's the thing is, even me, I've run it so many times. I have help. I have so much help every time I toe the line, and so no one does it alone.
Right.
Another tough thing though is too. It's at a time of the year where most of those 4 months are in the winter that you're training.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
as if it couldn't get any worse. Like
I hate the cold.
yeah, the cold it sucks. Do you travel? Do you ever go
Oh,
places?
yeah.
Because
yeah.
when Z like when he travels, I said get that 20-mile run in Florida. You know, and so that's what he would do. He'd go on a 20-mile run in Florida, and that kind of gives you something to do too. So you only need a couple 20-mile runs and everything. 16, 14, you can manage that on your own for sure.
It sounds so overwhelming
It is overwhelming,
Like-
but it's really worth it.
because I think the longest I've ever run. I ran cross country in high school.
Yeah, so-
But I did it to get ready for hockey season.
Yeah.
And I was never good unless we ran at Franklin Park.
I
That
used
was
to
back
bomb
in
the island,
day.
like Castle Island. Like, so
Yeah.
like I lived on N Street. Like I would just, at night, you have practice, whatever, in high school. And you come home, it's like 7, 8 o'clock at night
Yeah.
and I'm still wired. I would just go bomb the island
Yeah.
and go for a run. I don't know, it would be like 2-3 miles and come back.
So-
Like,
it's nuts because you guys already, being hockey players, you guys already have the endurance. So when I've trained baseball players, friends of mine through college.
Oh, that makes sense.
And they're winded. They're like, I'm like, but you're so fit, but they're so winded because they never ever
Right.
run. So you have so much endurance.
skating shape is different than running shape. Like I remember in the playoffs, and like you'll have like you're used to skating 3-4 days a week, and then
Yeah.
in the playoffs it gets spread out.
Yeah.
You might have 4 or 5 days off before your next game.
Right.
So I would run and bike, and then I'd be winded in the first period.
Yeah,
And
so-
I'm like, holy crap! Like, you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys have endurance more than you think.
Yeah.
Hockey is a lot like it really is it's all that time on the ice.
It's sprint, glide, sprint.
Yeah.
Like that's what I keep telling my daughters. That's all you need,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I should have probably done this back when I was in really good shape.
My uncle's 72 and just ran his he started when he was 68
Oh,
and just
wow.
ran his 14th marathon.
Jesus.
All right.
I think
No excuses.
And he's
I think
There's
5
no
miles.
excuses.
had
Riles.
he's had all the injuries, and that's the thing is like now that he's getting older, he runs like 320s pretty fast. So, but he just started when he was 68. Like I'm gonna run. I'm like, go do it, everybody.
Yeah. You can
So
do
that's
it.
the thing. It's like that's so cool.
I'd just be worried about me having an Udapipic moment.
It happens. Shit
Can't
happens.
talk about the
Yeah,
Boston
shit happens.
Shit happens.
Yeah, shit
We've
happens.
all seen it.
Without
We've
talking to
all
her.
been there. But you know your body, and you're like, all right, you know where the porta potties are too. You know, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be going out for a run. Like that Dunkin' Donuts has one. That Starbucks has one. Like you know.
All right. Well, I guess I'm announcing it right now.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
running the Boston Marathon in 2026.
I believe in you.
I might
So-
get on that bandwagon with you
should.
if you get motivated enough.
It's fun. You guys would be like the power.
Yeah, we'll be the zebra.
Yeah. You
Team
can run
Zebra.
for your
Yeah,
own,
Team
and
Zebra.
you can make you can bring in your funds, and you guys can make a donation to whoever you guys want. Like
We could run in
incredible.
ref jerseys.
you should have them made. When
We
you
could
get
have
this
a ref
tablecloth made,
thing.
make
Yeah.
2 jerseys too, and then you
at
can
that.
hang them for inspiration.
There we go.
I like that.
And then we could be on. You go for your run today?
Yeah. No, you go together.
Well, and yeah,
We'll get the
together.
Divorced Dad podcast on. Yeah, we'll get
Yeah.
Tom Reed on to motivate us. I listen to this shit, and I'm like, man.
Yeah.
I go from where he was to where he is
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I'm like, good for you, kid.
Yeah.
Like
He-
this
he-
kid just turned
yeah.
himself around. Like,
completely around.
yeah.
That's
Definitely.
Yeah, I did the first 777 as a single mom, so there's no excuses for
Wow.
anything. You know, if you want it to happen, make it happen. You know, and that's it.
I thought you were going to bring up my divorced dad Christmas tree.
No, that's a good one too. Go get them. They're in stores next year.
So sad. I put a video out, my divorced dad Christmas tree. It was when you know no one's coming over, but you don't want to be a Scrooge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny.
So sad. So how many marathons are you going to run this year?
This year I'll probably be more like 6.
Okay.
I have Napa Valley in March, and that's the one that I'm definitely racing. And then I just did Antarctica Marathon. And I'm definitely doing Boston and London. And then after Boston and London, I really love Ironmans. So I'll probably do the Florida Ironman. I've done Ironmans in Hawaii, the World Championships in Hawaii and Kona, Hawaii.
That's
I did
a big
Kona.
one.
That's awesome.
I did that, and that was amazing. And then I did Nice, France last year, which was amazing, the World Championships.
Wow.
So I did Phoenix this
How
year.
many Ironmans have you done?
I've done 3. So I did Phoenix this year, and then
Jesus.
Now, has Netflix done a documentary yet on you? Because like if they're missing out, like this, you are the Bethany Hamilton. You are the like
100%.
I want to sign you right now for a documentary.
100%.
like just follow me.
Yeah, we'll follow you on Instagram. There you go.
That's what we do.
Screw
just
giving
follow-
the money to Netflix. You get
Yeah.
it.
I think I
Follow
already
Becky.
follow you.
Yeah.
I think the zebras follow you too.
Oh, that's cool.
But,
Well, follow.
Yeah.
yeah, we could just go around and do podcasts everywhere you do a run.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm always
Live
up to
podcasts.
something. I'm always doing something.
You have to. Yeah.
Now, did you get the Iron Man tattoo?
No, if I ever said if I won one, I might.
Okay.
But then
Because that was a big thing with my buddy, John Carreri. I
Yeah.
grew up playing hockey with him, and his nickname used to be Meatball. That'll tell you how he was built.
Yeah.
And he was Italian, like just loved his pasta. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he starts training and does an Ironman. And I'm like, where the hell did this come from?
Yeah.
And he, I think he might have done a couple, but he got the tattoo. He was
Yeah.
like, I had to get the tattoo. I finished it, and I know a few people that have done that. And,
love it.
I'm not committing to that.
No. In Nice, I was stung by Japanese jellyfish, like stung, and it hurt. And you're like, how am I gonna still race for 11 hours, like with this pain, like as if the Ironman's not hard enough? Because you're looking out in the ocean and you're like, all right, I got 11 hours to figure this out. It's scary. That's really when your heart's racing, and you have a 2.4 mile swim, and then a 116 mile bike ride, and then a marathon. That's a bear. And especially
What's the hardest part?
For me, it's a swim.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real. 2.5 mile swim is far. It's very far.
Oh, yeah.
And especially like if you're going out in Hawaii and then back, the out is just you're swimming for like 45 minutes out, and so it takes so long, and then coming back is just like really tough, and the salty water, and you don't feel good, but then the bike takes 6 hours, so that's a long time to be sitting. Then you get off the bike and then you go run a marathon. That's
insane.
and it's really, but it's addicting. I love it. That is addicting. I really, really just probably will now. I'll just do Ironmans in Boston.
I can't. No, so I loved biking. I was a
Yeah.
big mountain biker back in the day in college.
Crush it.
And also on the road, back before my back went again.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I was biking all the time, in decent rides,
Yeah.
like 15, 20, 25 miles. But I couldn't imagine getting off a bike
Yeah.
because bikes give you a little pain in certain places.
Yeah.
And then running.
Yeah.
Like, I just couldn't imagine that. I mean, the biking part, I think, would be where I was okay.
You'd be great.
You
You guys
know?
have those hockey bikes. You guys would
But-
fly.
I can bike,
Yeah.
run,
You'd be,
swim.
then
No.
you're running a marathon.
The swim I can swim. I'm a pretty good swimmer. I've saved 2 people from drowning.
Not me.
Actually. Legit.
Wow.
In Aruba.
Oh, wow.
A friend of mine we went snorkeling. I don't know if I've ever told the
told me this,
story.
I think.
I've told you, but I don't think I've ever told it on here.
Nope.
We went to what was the name of the place? It's one of the only places in the world that have 7 tonalities of blue in the water.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's Mango Halto. That's what it is.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, you have no idea. But we went snorkeling, and it's like, it's a beach, and you go out, and like about 100 feet out, there's supposedly it's there, a sunken ship. So we're like, let's go out to the sunken ship.
Yeah.
Why not? And he's a pretty good swimmer, but he wore canvas sneakers.
Oh.
Now, his thinking was, I didn't want to get caught up if we were walking on the coral.
Yeah.
Right? So he's got canvas sneakers on. So we swim out. We're out a good I mean, we never made the ship because it was really rough.
Yeah.
And it was tough and we didn't have fins on. Yeah. He's like, oh, I got the snorkel gear. And I'm like, oh, great. And he's like, oh, I don't have fins. I'm like, what? You don't have fins? So we just had the snorkel and the mask. I'm out there tooling around, and all of a sudden we start going back in, and he starts screaming. He's going down. Like the feet, the canvas sneakers.
Yeah, they're pulling him.
So I had to swim over. I grab him. He hands me his snorkel and mask. I'm like, what am I doing with this? And I'm yelling under the water, take your feet or shoes off. Take your shoes off.
Yeah, Jesus.
And his daughter was on the beach.
That's awesome.
And I literally had to swim him until he could stand up. And he was done.
Yeah.
And I mean, I busted his balls about those canvas sneakers forever.
Like, who told you were these?
Forever. Like, fins. Next time, get fins.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was legit. That was my second save. I saved my dad when he fell off the pier down in Lakeville and landed. And he was older, and he had a a Budweiser baby, and he fell face first. Whoa. And he couldn't. He was luckily I was there. I happened to be there. And and I jumped in and pulled him out. So God. I got 2 saves.
Yes,
I'm like David Hasselhoff.
You'd be fine. You'd be pro.
Yeah, without the Knight Rider card. So, I can't commit to a Ironman. Let's start with a marathon. Mike, I'm running the marathon next year. I just announced it on. This is why he's got the bladder of Frankie Chirps, my Yorkie. My Yorkie doesn't pee as much as him. Unbelievable. But I'm gonna run the marathon next year, and I need your help.
I'm gonna help you. I believe in you. I know
need
you
your
will.
help.
This is how it all starts.
Big time.
This is what happens.
I will need your help, but I'm gonna do it. We're gonna get zebra bibs, and we'll see if he might need a rickshaw. And we'll have to wait for him at every bathroom stop.
He'll know where the porta potties
Jesus, we won't let him drink water. But this has been, I mean, your journey and what you've accomplished is just mind-blowing. I mean, really, like, I liken you, and this might sound a little crazy, but I liken you to a Navy SEAL. And here's why. For me, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady even, or, Poppy, I can do what they do. Nowhere near as good. I mean, obviously. But I can throw a football. I can swing a bat. I can throw a ball. So those guys never really, it's not like they're otherworldly. Navy SEALs are otherworldly. They do shit that no human can, very few humans can do. I liken that to you. I mean, what you've accomplished is just otherworldly.
Yes.
It's not human.
I think
Seriously.
I think we have just
You're not a robot, are you? Let's be honest right now.
I think it comes down to just having a very high tolerance for pain. And that's what Navy SEALs are. They just have a very high tolerance for pain.
Well, that's good because
very motivated.
Yeah.
I have, because of my back and stuff, because that pain is just
Back
ridiculous.
pain's
And I got meningitis the last surgery in 2014, so that made it even worse. But I have a high pain tolerance, so that's it. I'm going to do it.
I believe in you.
And
I know you will.
I might.
We're gonna
My
try
knees
to
hold up.
I said you can ride a rickshaw the whole way. We'll get you one of those bikes. But you can't pee every mile.
Can I rollerblade the marathon?
You can, but just not the day
I'll
of
rollerblade.
the marathon.
In training.
Yeah.
Train.
We'll get you a husky that can pull you.
Look, we go for walks. My daughter throws her rollerblades on. I'm like, all right, fair enough. That's what I want to do,
Mine
too.
goes in flip-flops.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been
best
incredible.
Episode. Yes.
Best episode.
Seriously. What a way to kick off 2025 right here.
That I don't think we couldn't have
scripted any better.
I mean, we want to get Big Z and some other guys on. I don't even think they can.
No.
They're not going to top it. I'm throwing down the gauntlet right now and say that I don't. This
is going to be a tough one to top. Let's put it that way.
No question.
Guinness Book of World Records.
I couldn't put it this way. Flying to 7 continents in 7 days, just doing that, I would struggle with.
I did 3 games in 3 nights in 3 different states with you do the game, you drive 3-4 hours after, you sleep,
Yeah.
drive 3-4 hours to the game. You do that for 3 straight.
Yeah.
I remember my third game, I was in the masseuse getting rubbed down my legs. I couldn't even move.
Kinkles.
Yeah.
Right, because you sit in the car for 3 hours. I wasn't stopping every hour and stretching because you had to get to the place to get
Yeah.
your lunch in and nap.
Yeah.
Well, that's that.
That's what it is.
That's trip I did Tallahassee to Charleston, South Carolina to Birmingham, Alabama.
That's pretty much the loop I did.
All
It
alone.
was pretty similar.
All alone.
Yep.
8-hour ride in between, and that was a struggle.
And you stay in a really nice hotel.
I know. You saw like
Yeah.
that's
Motel, mobile, whatever. Horrible.
some of them are brutal.
Oh my God.
But I did 2 pro hockey games. I've told the story in one day.
Yeah.
I did a 12 o'clock and then a 7 o'clock, and that was back when there was one ref.
Oh my God.
Not the 4 now that they
And when you
it's
got to
easy.
skate, yeah.
We skated the building, so I did one at 12 and one at 7. That's when I should have ran the marathon.
You
That's
practically
when I
did.
should have tried it.
You
right
practically
then.
did it.
Right.
So, but I'll get back in shape.
Let's do it.
We're gonna do it. So, Becca, thank you so much. I should have mentioned too. This is a funny story because Johnny Pease is a friend of mine,
Yeah.
a comedian, and right away when I met you, like no relation to Johnny.
Yeah. Because everyone's like, "Oh my God, of course you're related." I'm like, "No, we're not."
No,
That's got
I laughed at that. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
But
Good
yeah,
stuff.
it's just incredible to have you on. It's been an honor.
Yeah,
seriously.
You guys. Thanks
Very
for
good to
having
meet you, and
Yeah.
best of luck in the future.
me. Thanks.
So, and I might be the toughest one you train yet. Believe me,
I can't
it's
wait.
going to be tough.
It's
A
gonna
lot
be
of
fun.
whining.
You help me.
He drives up with me every day, every week when we tape. So he gets road rage. I whine.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a
Everybody
good,
has their thing.
it's a good relationship. But that's going to wrap it up. Episode 45, Pedro Martinez episode with Becca Pizzi. Want to thank our sponsor. You know what? At the beginning of the show, I completely didn't mention our
Oh
sponsor.
my God, he's bullshit.
Oh,
Let's do it
the
again.
referee's crease.
Referee's crease.
It's Gene and
It's,
Gino and
it's
Gene.
my father's company that
Yeah.
I'm inheriting, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been the biggest supporter, and I blew off them, AOA. I blew off everyone.
Well,
at
we
the
were so
beginning.
excited.
I was so excited to
this
get
is-
into the 7 continents.
Right.
I completely forgot. So, referee's crease, maybe we can splice that in
It doesn't
the
matter.
beginning.
As long as you get the ad read in the episode.
That's true. That's true. So, referee's crease, our main sponsor. Want to thank AOA Studios in Beverly, best place to tape anything you're going to tape. We want you to like and subscribe on YouTube. We're getting up there 660 something. We need to get to 1,000 so we can start making money on this and I can quit teaching. And so like and subscribe on YouTube. Find us on the social medias.
Where can we
Facebook.
find you, Becky?
Oh,
Becca
yeah.
Pizzi on Instagram
Becca Pizzi on Instagram
and Facebook too.
and Facebook. So
Awesome.
Becca's on the Facebook and the Instagram. We're on the Facebook, Instagram, and the
TikTok.
We're on the TikTok, so find us all on those. Find me online too, Mark Riley Comedy.
Any other
am I
plugs?
missing
Any other
anything
shameless
else?
plugs? Yeah.
Well, I
Find
mean,
Referee's Crease on YouTube. Come ref for us. Yeah.
This is what we do at the
know.
end. By now, everyone
Our endings are like
switched it
last
off.
2 hours. Yeah.
Well, we've had mic drops. We've had all kinds of things.
Walkouts.
Smoke and Axe were great.
Yeah.
They went off, and then, so
They went off with a bang. No, we're kicking it off with a bang.
we go to chirpingzebras.com and get your merch. All right.
Merch coming.
We got new merch coming, which we're excited about. And so that's going to do it. I'll finally shut up. Episode 45, Becca Pizzi, Gino Binder Jr., AOA crew. I'm Mark Riley. We'll see you next time.